Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Tell Me More show. I've got a wonderful guest with me today. Her name is Sharan Kafoa. Is that how I actually say that surname?
That's very good, actually. It's Kafoa.
Kafoa.
Hmm.
What nationality is that, Sharan?
It's actually comes from an island in the Fiji group called Rotuma.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Wow. So your husband is from there?
My husband's family, yes.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, there's a surname that I hadn't come across before.
No, it's not very common. And as you'd imagine, there are some interesting spellings which come out of it and pronunciation. Yeah.
Oh, now Sharan is a health coach. We're going to talk to her about exactly what she does do and how she came about doing that. But where did you start off? So I think you're based in Victoria now, aren't you, Sharan?
I am, yep, in fun city of Melbourne.
Okay, fantastic. I hope the weather's a bit warmer down there than it is here at the moment. No. Cold. So where did you grow up? Where were you born and where did you grow up?
Okay, that's kind of convoluted.
Not when, but where.
No. I was actually born in Africa.
Oh, wow.
And we were there for a few years. My father was working there. We left there and we went back to the UK. And eventually we ended up in Perth for a while before coming across to Victoria. Then we moved back to Perth again, and I lived there for the most of my life before meeting my husband. And with my husband, we've lived in Canberra, Sydney, and interestingly enough, ended up back here in Melbourne again.
Oh, wow. Circle. Yeah. Yeah, so you've been born in Africa. How exciting.
It does add a little bit of difference to the conversation, yes.
Yeah. How old were you when you left Africa?
Oh, very young, about 2 maybe.
Yeah, and went back to England.
We had to leave because of the Civil War.
Oh, wow. Scary. Probably just as well you were young and you probably don't remember much about that.
I don't, but it's interesting with the photographs and the stories that I've heard from my parents and looking at the photographs. It's hard to explain. There's quite a sense of connection of knowing of the familiar when I look at the photographs.
Yes.
My parents used to tell this story about how, because you can imagine I'm this little pink bundle and back then I had red gold curls, a head of red gold curls and this little sort of pink bundle. And I used to go wandering off from the property and the local tribes people I'd go and, find them, and they were constantly bringing me back to the house and sort of knocking on the front door and sort of like, Memsab, you're picking. It's kind of like, she's driving us crazy. She's annoying the chickens. Just do something with her. But that happened apparently quite regularly. I'd wander off and they'd find me and bring me back to the Memsab.
Oh, wow.
I know, long time ago.
Yeah, goodness gracious. Yeah, of course, you don't remember any of that.
No.
Wow. So when you came to Australia, when did you want to be involved with wellness? When did that sort of evolve? Were you always interested in health and wellness growing up, or was it something that happened later?
No, I had no idea about health and wellness. I was brought up in a very traditional view of medicine. And in fact, I worked in and around several hospitals in WA and loved it, loved the whole science side of it, the academia side of it, the knowledge side of it. And that was where my love of the science grew from. But my wellness experience was mostly around that traditional route. It didn't really start to come to me until much, much later, after I'd been through my own health challenges in my late 30s. And whilst I didn't sort of know about wellness, I was in a situation where I instinctively knew that I had to change my life if my health was going to change. And so I did, and was blessed with falling pregnant with my son. But after that, again, lots of health challenges. And it took a little while, probably until I was in my early or late 40s, coming into my 50s, when the whole wellness world started opening up to me. And that was when I started to understand that wellness is multifaceted. And there's so much to it, and it's very, very different for each of us. And the traditional sort of view of medicine and traditional medicine absolutely has a place, but so too does what everything else that gets lumped into, that alternative side. Yes. That has a place as well. So I guess it's been really the last 10 or more years that I've delved into wellness and have turned my business into one that is around wellness.
So you didn't actually work in health and wellness before that? You said you worked at the hospital, so that was more an admin or side of it, was it? Or
I actually worked for a university. And
okay.
So I worked for the departments of medicine and the departments of surgery, and they were academic, clinical, and research departments. So I got to see quite an overview of medicine in its various capacities, from the physician side as well as from the surgical side, and the science as well, and looking into how a lot of these pharmaceutical companies get involved and the sort of things they're looking at and the studies they do, and it was absolutely fascinating from every aspect. And yes, I was predominantly in admin, but I was also running the final year medical exams. I was the departmental secretary for the medical students, and that was that was a fun time.
That'd be interesting.
It was.
Yeah. So what sort of health issues were you having, and where did they lead you to start this new journey?
I ended up being diagnosed with several autoimmune diseases, and they stemmed really from nutrient depletion, lifestyle, chronic stress, a whole range of those sorts of things. And my experience with those really led to me being where I am now as a women's health coach, because with a specialty in hormones, because looking back at what I went through then, which was 20 odd years ago, I'd made a complete mess of my hormones, and they're so intricately linked, they're so finely balanced. And, we live life, just live life. We get up in the morning, we have a coffee, maybe a piece of toast, we jump on the train, or we commute into work. And in my case, certainly it was to a job I really didn't like. I was, not eating as well as I perhaps could have. It's not to say that I ate badly, but I wasn't eating to suit the demands I was placing on my body.
Yeah.
And, like most things, like our cars, if we don't look after them, they run down. And my body ran down, and eventually it kind of went, well, okay, you're not listening to all of these little messages we're giving you, so we're going to make you stop and listen to us. And that one was waking up one morning and struggling to breathe, and facing a diagnosis of possible lymphoma, but then finding out that no, it was actually an autoimmune disease behind it. And that was that being blessed with seeing the right kind of specialist who understood that there were multiple factors involved, and that from there led to me having that as I say, sort of instinct about, okay, what I'm doing is obviously not working. I need to change things. And so I did. I quit my job. I found a job that I could still earn money at, but had no stress. Then I sort of took a big, deep look at my life and thought, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something differently. So I quit my job and trained as a graphic designer. So I did that full time, and I was in this beautiful, nurturing, creative world, which I love creating things. I love art. I love crafts. I love doing things. And that was incredibly healing for me. And looking back at it now, I think this is something that we get so caught up in our normal life that we truly miss what's actually healing for each of us. And as I say, it's different for every one of us.
Yeah. That's so true. It's so true. I mean, no, not everybody, but more people are getting integrated doctors now. They're seeing a naturopath, and I'm lucky where I go. I'm on the Central Coast in New South Wales, excuse me, and I go to a place called Invitation to Health here. And my doctor and my naturopath actually have meetings about my case and talk about, the best path forward for me and for all their patients. They do that. They have meetings, and it's just wonderful, because in the past I've gone to doctors and they've like woo, oh, that's woo, stuff, naturopaths. So there's been no communication, and now to have a doctor and my naturopath in communication, it's just I find that fabulous.
So, it is. It's wonderful to see happening, and this is why one of the reasons I wanted to move into being a health coach is that opportunity, hopefully, where your GP, your medical practice, will start integrating people like myself, so that when someone goes to see a doctor and their blood pressure might be high, or they might be a type 2 diabetic, or whatever it is, and the doctor might say something like, well, you need to go on a diet, I'll see you in 6 weeks. And the person walks out of the office and thinks, well, how do I do that? I don't know what to do. But if they had somebody like a health coach to sit down with them and work out what sort of diet, and work with the doctor to say, all right, Dr. Joe thinks you should be on this sort of diet or this way of eating. Let's look at how we can make this easy for you to integrate. And I work with the person to integrate those sorts of changes, so that when they do go back to the doctor, they've gone back with a better understanding of what's going on, what they need to do. They're seeing changes, and it's done in a way that's sustainable.
Yes. And it's holistic. I would imagine you would be discussing with them everything that's going on in their lives, to find out, is there an emotional reason for that? Is there this? Is there that? You'd be looking at all aspects of their lives, I would imagine.
Absolutely, because it's never generally any one thing.
No.
It's, as a health coach, I look at, what's going on in their career, what's going on in their home life, their social life, what's their home environment like, it's about picking that and working out where the main stresses are, because stress really is at the root of so many challenges that people face nowadays. And they're not even sure, or they're not even aware sometimes that they are stressed. Are they eating to fill a hole in their heart, or are they eating actually because they're hungry?
Well, that's right. And people's version of healthy eating is very vast.
Well, this is it. When before I fell ill, I would have said that I ate very well because I'm a home cook. I don't tend to have a lot of processed or packaged foods. We didn't eat a lot of junk food. I would have said that we eat very well. And we were to some degree, but they're looking at it now, there wouldn't have been the variety that I needed. There wouldn't have been enough of the right kinds of foods. For example, to replace the vitamin D that I was missing by running late. So I was on the train. I had rather a long commute. And then I spent most of my day indoors. And then by the time I got home again, it was usually early evening, and I would have had almost no sun during the day. It never occurred to me. And this is, I think, what most of us do, how we live our lives without really being aware.
Yeah, especially these days, that vitamin D deficiencies are very common.
Oh, extremely common.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. And how did the hormone side of it come into it? Because you focus more on women and hormones. How did that sort of come into it?
Whilst I was studying my health coaching certification, I saw their advanced hormone specialty open. And at the time I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. And it was absolutely fascinating every single week when the new module opened up. And it dives into every aspect, adrenal glands, thyroid glands, your whole endocrine system and the connections. And we did discuss men's hormones as well. So it wasn't just women. But every week personally, it was almost as if another piece of the jigsaw for me fell into place. I could finally understand what had happened and why, and make sense of it all. I understood that after I had my son, I had some challenges in my personal life that essentially set back my healing. Plus, when you're pregnant, it places a huge demand on your thyroid, which I hadn't realized. And we were trying to have another baby, and I could conceive, but I couldn't hold the baby. So I was having miscarriage after miscarriage. And at the time, I didn't realize it, but I'd actually gone into an early menopause at about 42.
Wow.
And my obstetrician gynecologist hadn't picked it up. But through studying the course that I did, it became quite apparent to me that what I'd suffered was a premature ovarian failure, because my adrenal glands weren't functioning properly. My thyroid was struggling massively. My cortisol levels were through the roof. It was even more miraculous that I had my son, but I understood then why I hadn't been able to conceive and had gone into menopause when I did. I also was able to understand why it was as horrendous as it was as well. And the further I delved into the course, the more passionate I became about making that my special area, because I understood how easy it was for me to have all this happen. Not because I was, making stupid decisions or doing anything silly or whatever. It was just through not understanding how, A is connected to B, is connected to C, is connected to D. And if you throw one of those out, there's a cascade effect. And oftentimes it'll show up where you least expect it.
Wow, what a journey.
I've loved every minute on it. And, people say to me, oh, do you feel sad? Do you regret? No, because yes, occasionally I could think, well, it would have been nice if things had turned out differently, that I had been able to have another baby and all these other things, but I wouldn't be who I am now and where I am now without all of these things happening. And so I'm actually quite grateful for that.
Yeah, that's incredible. You say something on your website, which I'm going to put the links up later. Every woman is a goddess. Sometimes she just needs a little help to find her again. I love that.
Oh, thank you, Dawn.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Well, I think we are deep down. And I think just with life and events and everything, she gets covered up like an onion in all of these layers. And we lose touch with who we truly intrinsically are. And deep down, I think we are actually all goddesses in our own ways.
Yeah. So you help with women in mostly, but like you said, you learned how to help men as well. But it mainly focused on helping women. Obviously with mindset as well as health, even though you're a hormone health coach, it would be helping it's like we said before, it's holistic, it's everything. Yeah.
I do. I do work predominantly with women, and a lot of it really comes down to it's very rare that we have somebody that we can open up to and be completely honest and straightforward with. Because oftentimes we can't talk to a partner, we can't talk to our best friend, our mother, our sister, auntie, whatever. I mean, you might be able to have some conversations, but to actually dive deep down and unearth the core of what's really going on
Exactly.
is hard. And that's what a health coach and a health professional often does, is provide you with that safe space where it's wholly and solely about you and figuring out how you can get on top of whatever's, going on for you, but, so that you can get out there and, as I say, so you can live, you can love, and you can flourish.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And you'd be asking them the right questions to get the right answers. It's a different approach to when you go to a doctor or even a naturopath, because they just take the facts and then they tell you, well, take this, take that, do this, do that. They're not getting to the core, like you said. So you're peeling away those layers of the onion to get to that core reason. And the more they feel it's a safe space, the more that will come out.
Well, it's more about listening, and every single one of us, whether we recognize it or not, or are aware of it or not, we know what's going on. We know what the problem is. The actual, the beginning of that irritation or whatever it is that's ended up this huge thing. We all know. It's about listening and peeling and picking apart and asking the questions to, hopefully, the aim is to get the person to a point where they can go, actually, and then they go, wow, okay. That's when the healing starts, is when you can get down to where the issue really is.
And a lot of the time it's subconscious, and it's just when you are asking the right questions that answer comes out.
Yeah.
And it's a breakthrough for them. It's like, oh my God,
but it's also when they're ready.
Yeah.
Because it does take work, and it does take time. And oftentimes people think they're ready to do the work, but they aren't really.
Yeah, very true, very true. So what's your vision now? What's your vision? What, have you not achieved that you'd love to be able to achieve with this business, or just in general? What plans have you got? What dreams and visions do you have?
I have plans for the business. I have programs that I'm putting together that I'm excited about, that I understand, because I know what I'm like. I understand that, making a long-term commitment to working with somebody is a big thing. So I'm putting together some shorter term programs for women to kind of come in, and it's about getting to know me, but it's also about providing them with the kind of information and insight that will help them hopefully walk away with a few ideas that they can kind of go, okay, well, that makes sense. And they can start making those small changes, whether it's only having, coming down to having one coffee a day, or whether it's shifting their perception of stress, or whether it's whatever it is. It's about providing that space and being that person for women where they can come and feel safe and feel that they can talk, and they can walk away feeling a little bit better.
That sounds wonderful. What can they find on your website now?
On my website now, they can find, I've got a whole list of actually free resources that's there for them to take advantage of. Please come and take advantage of me. Because it is about exploring and finding what it is. And some things might be of interest and some things might not be. I also have, at the moment, I do one-on-one coaching. I have a sugar detox program where I take people through a 6-week program of basically sugar And I'm never one to say you can never have sugar again. But it's about, again, building awareness and making those little changes in your own life. And there's my 5-week 5 to Thrive program, which I'm putting together as well.
Oh, that sounds interesting. But sugar, I mean, they have found that, you know, how dangerous it is. I mean, it's, my naturopath took me off it years ago, about 20 years ago now. So it's only at, you know, parties or something like that that I would have, you know, a bit of cake or something like that. So every now and then, because we don't have processed foods or anything like that. But then, you know, the research, they're finding out more and more of the danger of sugar and dementia and so many other diseases that it's behind.
Well, sugar per se is not the problem, really. The problem is the amount of it that we consume.
Yeah, and really. Sometimes unknowingly, because unless that people check the labels on things, they're not realizing the hidden sugar in it.
Well, this is, you know, one of the things we go through in the program is making people aware of where sugar is. And as you say, it's in pretty much most things. Unless you're...
Too much natural sugar is not good for you either.
Well, it's, you know, it's the difference between having a glass of orange juice and having an orange. There's sugar in both. But when you eat an orange, you're also getting all of the vitamins, minerals, and fiber that go with it, all of which can dampen down the impact of that sugar that comes naturally in the fruit, opposed to the orange juice, where you don't necessarily have that benefit of the fiber, because fiber will actually slow down the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream. So it slows down its impact.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that. It's absolutely fascinating. And when you do start removing some of the sugars in your diet and just being aware of it, you find physically and mentally huge changes.
Oh, especially people with arthritis. Makes a big difference. I know if, you know, I have been at a party and I've had, you know, a bit of cake or something, my knees get a bit achy for a couple of days after that. My body tells me I don't like that stuff.
Well, and again, it's about helping people tune themselves into the little signals that your body gives you, because your body's talking to you all the time. It's just that most of the time we don't recognize it as a message, or we don't hear it.
We blame something on the outside. We're not looking within to understand, oh, well, I consumed that, so that's when that happened, and last time I did that happened. And yeah, like I said, it's tuning in and being aware.
The things that I focus on when I work with women around hormones, that, you know, my 5 pillars really are: stress is the major one, far and away. Sugar, again, let's look at what sugar's in your diet. Sleep is huge, especially if you're stressed. One of the best ways to help your adrenal glands, you know, calm down is to actually rest, to get some sleep. But also food, you know, what sort of foods are you eating? But it really all gets wrapped up and comes down to self-care. Do you really care enough about yourself to do what you need to do? And oftentimes, especially with women, we don't.
And environment, you know, who's around you, who you're mixing with, you know, all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh, it's multifaceted, you know. And it's not as simple as, you know, take a pill for an ill. Yes, pharmaceuticals can be of great benefit. You know, having recently had a severe attack of asthma, I'm very grateful for those medications. But there's so much, so many other things behind that as well. It's not just that. Yes, it can make a difference. But long term, it's about figuring out, okay, this happened. Why did it happen? What caused it? What am I not doing? What was I doing? Where do I need to make some changes, some additions, you know, take things out, put things in, modify what I'm doing.
Yeah, so not everybody wants to do that because it is work.
It is work, and we get, you know, it's called a comfort zone for a reason. We get used to the way things are. It's not stressful. We might not like it or might not like all of it, but we know it, so it's safe.
Yeah,
and I totally get that.
Yeah. It has been so good chatting with you today, Sharon. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, darling.
Your
It's been
work
such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Your work is amazing. Really, so impressed with what you do. And I've known you for a little while now, and I've heard you speak before, and always inspires me. Always, even as a coach myself, I really admire and appreciate what you do.
Oh, thank you so much. I've loved every minute of this.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm going to put all the details for your website and everything in the comments, so everyone can find you. And please have a look at Sharon's website, and like you said, you've got some free stuff there for them as well.
Yep. If I can make a difference, however small, then I'm a happy girl. Well,
they might even know someone that could definitely use your assistance, and if they might be fine, they might go, oh gosh, Auntie Jean, or or their mum or sister or somebody, But
well, if it's to do with menopause, say fertility, thyroid glands, anything hormonal, then and I offer a free clarity session where we can sit and talk, and that might be all you need, just a few pointers to get you on your way. And it's also a way for them to get to know me, and because I'm not the right person for everybody.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, darling.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So we're going to say goodbye. You can stay on the line, Sharon, but I'm going to say goodbye to everyone on Facebook and YouTube. And I will see you for the Tell Me More show next week.